to the I Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Dubston, and thank you for being here with me for this weekly I Ching forecast for the week commencing the 29th of June 2026. Right, last week we had a locked hexagram. Yes, we did. We had hexagram 28, great pressure. Tackling the question of how do we respond under great pressure or stress. What is our go-to, positive and negative, right? Where do we go when we're under pressure? Do we find ways of stabilizing, ourselves, building that infrastructure, creating the scaffolding, or do we escalate the drama, and send ourselves off into another stratosphere because we haven't found a way of grounding our energy, grounding what we're trying to do, focusing through really understanding how we respond, being courageous to walk the path, walk into the fire, and deal with the stress that came our way. What was the stress that came to greet you and bring you a blessing in growth, in bringing you the new beginning that you've been asking for, and teaching you a little bit more around how you deal with stress? Please do share a comment if anything came up for you. I had a big event, right? Doing something new that I hadn't done before. And I knew that doing last week's episode, I thought, oh, I can just see where this is going. And so, yes, it all worked out in the end. But there was a huge amount of pressure and stress to bring it all together. But it is done now. Whew. Okay. All right, so let us focus on this week. What is the I Ching bringing to our awareness, bearing in mind we are in the last few days of June, and then this episode will also cover the first few days of July. So this week we have a return, not hexagram 24, but the one we started the beginning of the month with. I love it when we have these cycles and patterns. It's like there is literally somebody trying to tell us a story, and sometimes we listen and sometimes we do not listen. We return this week to hexagram 12, Standstill. Okay, what a month June has been. My goodness. Okay, we started the month. Our first weekly of June was this hexagram, all right? And there were things we had to tackle. Now, there's an interesting change in line this week that has shifted the story, all right, on Standstill. We'll get there in a moment. A recap on this hexagram. This hexagram, in a way, is similar to hexagram 39, obstruction, because it's a stoppage, right? It's a halt, it's an obstacle of some kind. In hexagram 39, that is currently still very fresh in our memory, we had a boulder in the road blocking our path, and we had to find a creative way around the boulder. That was the development path, the way out, the way to deal with the energy of the hexagram. What it was calling us to learn is to ask for help, engage those helpers, find creative solutions, and not stay bashing at the problem in the same old way. This hexagram says stand still, halt, stop, stoppage. But what we have to do here is we have to accept the stoppage. Okay. That, in a way, is harder to do. When you give me a challenge and say, there's a boulder in your road and you need to find a way around it, I can sink my teeth into solutions. Okay. I can say, right, if I do this, I do that, I do that, I do that, I can find a way around. But don't tell me, okay, with this hexagram, your task is to do nothing. No. Okay, so you remember from when we covered this hexagram before, an important thing is not to be the victim, okay? The sacrifice, the sacrificial victim. Oh, this is happening to me. Why is nothing working? Okay, we can't be a victim. We have to be at peace and accept. Okay, that is the main lesson of hexagram 12, is to be in peace and acceptance, right? Sometimes things stop and there's nothing you can do about them, and it's not about you. It's about finding ways of accepting the stop, all right? Because not everything stops forever. Things change. But for now, we're learning to deal with that. Now we have one changing line in the fourth position. So you know that when we have line 3, we're about to cross the chasm, or the halfway mark, from the bottom trigram to the top. And when we hit line 4, we have crossed the chasm, but we are still stabilizing. Okay, you can imagine I've got to cross the river, but perhaps my clothing is wet and I need to get the team together and we have to check what equipment we have. We've been through this kind of trek across this chasm, across the river. Now we need to regroup, and now we're on the other side of it, but we're kind of a little bit disheveled. So with this changing line in line 4, in the midst of the standstill and the difficulties and the halting and the obstacles and the hindrances, that little door of opportunity, the way out, the way forward, the way to reconnect with the way of where you need to go opens. Okay. And taking this idea, this visual of us having, as a team, crossed this river, and we've got to the other side, we're all drenched, we look like drowned rats, and our luggage and all our gear is potentially wet, potentially damaged, who knows yet. What we do is we cling together. We call ourselves towards each other, and we make sure everyone's okay, and we reconnect like ants, we're touching our feelers, we reconnect, we pull everyone together, we regroup, and we have a game plan. The door is right there, and you go through the door. All right, so there's an opportunity here that if we work with others, we cling with others, and we do it in a way that is to benefit everybody, to find a way to work together with others to achieve something and to go through the door, right? There are wonderful blessings that come out of this moment. So you can imagine you're on this scrabby kind of shaly surface of the other side of this river in this mountainous region. And this mysterious door just suddenly opens up in front of you. And what you got to do, you don't know how long this door is going to stay open, okay? It's weird, but it's there. And what you do is grab your troops, get your gear, hook into each other. Okay, you don't know what's on the other side of the door. It's good things. And you go through the door together, right? Cling with others and do something great that benefits everybody. And that's how we unlock blessings this week, all right, by doing that. So perhaps the standstill in the areas we were dealing with at the beginning of June, that were locked. We've been through all kinds of challenges, right? We've had this Hexagram 39 obstruction as well, okay, and standstill twice. Okay, so June has not been an easy energy for us. But here we are. This mysterious door opens in the middle of nowhere. The connection is made, the opportunity comes, and we pull ourselves together. We tie our carabiners and we tie everyone together in one big group, and we file through that door with all our gear. We just get on with it and go for it. That gives us a second hexagram, right? And this hexagram is hexagram 20, Contemplation. Climbing the tower, all right? Getting perspective. When we climb to the top of the tower, right? When we look down on the world from a higher perspective, we see how things are connected. We have an elevated view. We change our perspective on how we're seeing things, and we get the bigger picture view. This is challenging us to think like an eagle, right, or see like an eagle rather than like a mouse, is to get that perspective, to elevate our view, to get strategic, all right, re-look at the plan from a different angle, from a higher perspective, look down at what we've been doing, where we're going, and see things anew. I think there's been an interesting story for us facing adversity this month, facing challenges and stoppages and no's, okay, and not yet's. And this door opens, this mysterious door. Maybe it's the portable door if you've read that book. This door opens, right, and you go through it. And because you've been on this journey this whole month, with all these challenges, what pops out at the end of it, where we land up at the end of this cycle together, is perspective. We see things in a new way. We are not looking at the world through a tiny little view hole, through the keyhole. No, we are on top of the mountain. Perhaps we've gone to that door and it's transported us to the summit of the mountain we've been aiming for. That would be cool. And so now we can look down and we can see there's the river we just crossed. Oh dear, we left some gear. So it's that perspective that we are working towards this week. All right, the elevation of our view, raising the bar on our thinking, and seeing things from a much bigger, more powerful, empowered, strategic perspective. Seeing things in perspective. And perhaps when we look back at this month, there'll be things where you see how pieces fitted together, how we were doing things, how we weren't doing things, How were things moving towards where they needed to move? Where are we now? And what is the next cycle about to bring for us to pay attention to? But we finish the cycle of challenge, very much a lot of challenge this month. We finish it with perspective and elevated viewpoint, if we choose to go there. But we cannot unlock the blessings of this week by staying as a little mouse, scurrying and focusing on every micro detail. We have to see the world as an eagle sees the world, from that beautiful vantage point of perspective, of seeing things in context, of seeing how beautifully and perfectly the whole system fits together. That's what we can do as we work through this week. Thank you so much for being here with me. A thumbs up would be great. And of course, if you're new to the channel or the podcast, subscribe, hit the bells and all the things. You know what to do. Thank you so much. Next, when you hear from me, it'll be our monthly I Ching forecast for July. Where do we go to next after this very intense, high learning, high growth phase in June? Thank you so much for being with me. Take care.